Hi guys, in this lesson we will learn how to drop data frame rows with null values with the help of the DROPNA method. Let's first create a new file and call it DROPNA method. DROPNA method. Click Shift Enter and import our Pandas data frame. Import Pandas SPD. PD. Click Shift Enter. Yeah, and what is the DROPNA method and how is it used? Sometimes or usually you will have an NNN or null error inside of your data frame. This might be because Pandas has not recognized the values or simply when we don't have the data in it. In order to remove those rows, we will use what? The DROPNA method. This method will remove any row with this value. So let's try to implement it in practice and make our first step to cleaning the data. First, I will define the variable here and PD alias and try to read the CSV file from our folder here. If I go one step back and inside of the data folder, I have an NBA CSV file. Okay, I will upload it in my GitHub account. You can download it from the description below. And you already know how to go one step back. You are just typing the .cs/data folder / the name of the file, and now you could print out the first 5 rows of the imported data here or the last rows here. Let's try to print out the last 10 rows of this data. Click Shift Enter. From here you could see that some of our columns have these NaN values here, and some of the rows even have all these NaN values inside of these columns here. It basically means that this row does not have the logic here, and it should be removed because it will not help us with analyzing our data. It even will just confuse us in the future. That's why we have a DROPNA method that will allow us to remove these values, NaN values here. First, I will check which columns have NaN values here. I have a DF here, data frame, and if I type in the DF isnull here and just click Shift Enter, it will, and even I can print out the tail and click Enter again with 10 rows. It will print what? It will basically say that these true values are assigned because these true values are these cells are holding the NaN values inside of these columns here. That's why it just prints out the true here instead of the NaN values here. You could see that the column college here has 2 NaN values at the 454 and 455 rows here. If I go here back at 454 and 455, it basically outputs the true because it contains the null values inside of these cells. That's why the isnull method is useful for that. We also have what notnull method. If I just comment this out, or I just copy this one, and instead of the isnull I will type in the notnull here, it will print a bunch of these true values here because all the values have the all the cells have the values inside of these columns and rows, and those cells that have no values will print out what? False here. And now I will try to remove all the rows with the DROPNA method by defining the DROPNA method to our data frame here. I have a data frame df, just run it here, and now if I just see it, it can we could clearly see, or if I type in the df like shape here, it will print out 458 rows and 9 columns here. But there is a very important thing to say. While dropping the data, we should be careful. Will we need it in the future or not? as you might need the values of other columns to be useful, so you could escape that. Or if you want to drop all these NaN values, you should be very careful because we might need it in the future. And you can see that the F shape prints out 458 rows and 9 columns here. But if I try to drop it, these NaN values, I will type in what df DROPNA method and two round brackets here, and click shift enter. It will drop all these NaN values inside of these columns and or rows here. Basically, this df DROPNA method have the whole any parameter as a default parameter here. If I type in the whole equals to any, the result will be the same, because what will this parameter say? It will say that it will drop all the rows that contain any kind of NaN value inside of the columns here. It doesn't matter if your data set has even one NaN row inside of one of these columns, does not matter. It will just drop or delete this row completely here. But if I just define what the in place true here, by default it has like that, whole any. But if I add it in place equals to true for making it permanent, and just call this shape here, click shift enter, it will print out 364 rows here. It basically do what? It will delete all these rows. If I just minus 458 from 458 364, it will just take all lots of rows here. That's why it just prints or deletes all the rows that contains NaN values here. But if I just refresh this dataset here, and now I will instead of this one, I will type in the df DROPNA, and instead of whole any, I will type in the whole equals to all, and again I will make it permanent, in place equals to true, and click shift enter here, because I have refreshed the data here, and call this data again, df shape, click shift enter. You could see that if our original data, this data, has 458 rows here, this data with all parameter has 457 rows, one row smaller than this one, because here as the last row here inside the last row of this NBS CSV file has all these NaN values inside of the row. That's why it does what? It just takes this row and deletes this one, because the parameter says that drop the rows which all the cells contain NaN values. In that case, the only row that contains NaN values in all the columns is this one, 457. That's why it just deletes the last row, and the other ones just stay as they are here. If I type in the tail here, click shift enter, you could see that these rows are still existing here, in spite of the fact that this college column has NaN value here. It will not drop these rows because it might need it for other items or for other purposes here. So we can even remove the NaN rows based on the column condition. In order to do that, we should do what? We should give a parameter called subset. If I again refresh this data here, I will import it once again and type it like that, tf head, click shift enter. And now if I want to drop the column where college is equals to NaN, or drop the row, so if I want to drop the row where one of these columns contains the NaN, I can easily do it by typing the df DROPNA method. After the DROPNA method, I will type in the subset equals to what? I will give the column name here. What column name? Let's say that I want to drop all the rows where NaN is in the column of college here. If I copy it and paste it here, it will drop the rows based on this NaN inside of this college here. If I click Shift Enter here and make it just in place true, or define the variable to this one, but in that case let's define the variable here, variable equals, and print this variable out with one head here, head, Shift Enter, and you could see from here that it would do what? It would remove this Jonas Jerebko row here. It does not have this row, Jonas Jerebko row, because that row inside of this college column contains the NaN value here. I can even add one more column here, or lots of columns, salary, and click Shift Enter. Again, you could see that it would also delete this row too here. John Holland row has been deleted here. We also have trash parameter. Trash n requires that a column has at least the certain amount of numbers or NaN values to survive. Let's see how should I define it. If I read this dataset again and type in the df here, click Shift Enter, and if I want to print out the tail, I will just print out the last column. And now if I just define the trash DROPNA, I will type in df DROPNA trash equals to 3 and make it permanent true. If I click the Shift Enter, while again type in the tail here, you could see that it will remove the last column here, because trash parameter says that just print me the rows that contain more than 3 values inside of the row here. But here in this row, if I pay attention to the original dataset, it does not have 3 values inside of this row based on the columns here. But trash parameter says that your row should have at least 3 values, like 1, 2, or 3 values to be printed out. And that's why it just does what? It just deletes the last element. Or maybe if I type in the TF shape, maybe we might have again lots of rows here. No, it basically has one row which corresponds to this criteria. It basically says that prints me the values, or prints me the rows that has at least 3 valid values inside of the row here. That's why it just deleted the last row here and printed the remaining rows, because all these rows has more than 3 values, valid values inside of it. Even this one, you could see that we have only one null values here. The other ones are all the valid ones, but this one does not have at least 3 values. That's why just eliminated it and didn't print it out. And that's it for now. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel. Have a good day. Bye.